Hey, Shalom. All praise to the Most High Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Dash. Peace to the hopefully elect of Israel. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and brethren, a great millstone, and all like-minded brothers who are preaching the truth all around the earth. This is your brother Atazawan, bringing a quick little lesson today. Uh, Lord willing, it'll be edifying. Um, Found this article, Salakia for my hand moving. I'm trying to hold the phone and do this video here. Um, Found this article that says came out 45 minutes ago, as we can see right here. Uh, NBA postpones Wednesday's playoff games as Milwaukee Bucks sit out over Jacob Blake shooting. Okay, that's the man that was shot up there. I think it's Kenosha, Wisconsin, somewhere up there in Wisconsin. Um, I didn't read too much about it, but I did see some of the video on it. Um, but in any event, um, the NBA says the NBA announced that all three of Wednesday's playoff games will be postponed after the Milwaukee Bucks became the first NBA team to sit out a game in the bubble over social justice issues when they did not take the court for Wednesday's scheduled 4 p.m. tip-off against the Orlando Magic. Oh, and I don't know, I might call this the Bucks stop here, and I'm gonna get into that in just a second after we finish this article. All right. So there they show the court there with the referees, but none of the teams are there for this game that was supposed to start at 4 p.m. All right, and it goes on to say, angered by the shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man, the team's actions reflect a growing movement among NBA players to take a bigger stand against issues facing black people in the United States. Blake, 29, was shot 7 times by the police in Wisconsin. Now, one report I read said 8 times, so I don't know, 7 or 8, I would imagine, or it could have been more. Um, Going on, it says, prompting outrage across the nation and powerful reflection among players in the NBA bubble. Kenosha is under an hour away from Milwaukee. The two other games set for Wednesday was Game 5 matchups between Houston Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder and the Los Angeles Lakers and Portland Trail Blazers. The NBA said all games will be rescheduled. Okay, so all the Jake players who play for all the J Brews uh, today for the Milwaukee Bucks, at least, decided that they were not going to play. Now, I thought of this phrase that you used to hear many years ago. You don't hear it that much anymore, and it was called "The Buck Stops Here." So, I mean, I might use a title like that on a play on words, but this goes to show the times in which you're living in which we kind of report on these things as they happen and go through some of the scriptures and filter it out. Okay, for those who are new or newly waking up, so that you can see some of the comparisons that are drawn. Okay, so if we go over to here, you also have another story that just came out 13 minutes ago, and it says Milwaukee Brewers join Bucks in protest. Will sit out game versus the Reds after Jacob Blake shooting, uh, per the report. Okay, I didn't actually read this one, so we're gonna read it now. Um, it says after the NBA Milwaukee Bucks refused to play their Wednesday afternoon playoff game in protest of a recent shooting by police in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the Brewers have joined them by deciding as a team not to take the field on Tuesday night. Per Jared Diamond of the Wall Street Journal, the Brewers had been scheduled to play the Reds at home at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday night. Earlier on Wednesday, Milwaukee reliever Josh Harden suggested that not playing the game was a possibility. Okay. On Monday night, Brewers reliever Devin Williams scrolled BLM, the acronym for Black Lives Matter movement, into the Miller Park Mound before he pitched. And see that Black Lives Matter thing, man. It's not, that we know now, that's really a setup. Okay, that uh, um, that outfit is really not set up for so-called black people. Okay, that's all a setup. Okay, um, let me finish it out. The protest stems from the shooting of Jacob Blake, a 29-year-old black man, by police in Kenosha, which is roughly 40 miles south of Milwaukee. Okay, so you had this Jake shot by these cops up there, and so now on a professional level in two different leagues, they're protesting, so they say. Now, my thing is, if you're really trying to make a statement, don't play any games anymore, okay? Because as we know, most of the owners and the presidents, man, and these commissioners who run these pro leagues, they're J-brews. So you're not going to hurt them unless them Jakes and what have you don't play at all forever, you see. So quickly, let me go back to what I was saying about the buck stops here, which was an old phrase that we heard. I just pulled up a couple of things. Let me see here. Is this it? Yeah, this was by Harry S. Truman, who had a sign on his desk that read, "The buck stops here," I believe. Okay, let me slide it over a little bit. See, right there, he's got a sign on his desk where it says, "The buck stops here." And this little article will go into the origin of that little plaque he had on his desk. Now he served. Let me see. Harry S. Truman was president during the 50s. Now, here it reads from Wikipedia, Harry S. Truman was the 33rd president of the United States from 1945 to 1953, succeeding upon the death of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. After serving as the 34th vice president, he implemented the Marshall Plan to rebuild the economy of Western Europe and established the Truman Doctrine and NATO. You see? So you can go on Wikipedia and find out more about Harry S. Truman. I know there's a lot of schools named after this guy. So, if you want to know more about him, you can go ahead and look that up. But he was the one that had that plaque on his desk, which is a picture of him again right here. And it says, what is meant by the buck stops here? And it says, quote, "It is understanding that gives us an ability to have peace when we understand the other fellow's viewpoint and he understands ours. Then he can sit down and work out our differences." Salakia. Then we can sit down and work out our differences. The buck stops here. Harry S. Truman. Okay? So that's a little catchy phrase that they had on a little plaque that he had. Now, he was from Missouri, the state of Missouri. All right? Salakia for the reflection. Okay? But anyway, it goes on to say, let me see. The buck stops here. What's the meaning of the phrase, "the buck stops here"? The slogan, "the buck stops here," is a promise that responsibility, okay, will not be passed on to anyone else. What's the origin of the phrase, "the buck stops here"? U.S. President Harry S. Truman had a sign on his desk with, quote, "The buck stops here" inscribed on it. It was meant to indicate that he didn't pass the buck to anyone else, but accepted personal responsibility for the way the country was governed. Okay? Truman didn't originate the phrase, although it isn't likely that he would ever have heard of it had he not adopted it. The story goes on. Fred M. Canville, U.S. Marshal of the Western District of Missouri, and a friend of Truman's, saw a sign like it while visiting the Federal Reformatory in El Reno, Oklahoma in 1945. He thought it would appeal to the plain speaking Truman, in which I've always heard bad things about Harry S. Truman. I always heard that he was an idiot and he was dumb. But that says a lot for all of them, because they're just puppets. All right, going on, it says arranged for a copy of it to be made and sent to him. It was seen on the president's desk on and off throughout the rest of his presidency. On the reverse side, that is, the side that Truman saw, it was inscribed, "I'm from Missouri." That's a short form of "I'm from Missouri, show me." Natives of that state, aka the Show Me State, which include Truman, were known for their skeptical nature. Okay, and there you have, I guess, what it looked like on both sides. Okay, it is highly likely that the original of the sign that Canfield saw was the one on the desk of retired Army officer Colonel A.B. Warfield, or a copy of it. In 1931, Warfield was quartermaster, supplier officer, and general superintendent of the U.S. Army Transport Service of the New York General Army Depot. During World War II, Warfield was commanded of the Lothrow Holding and Reconsignment Depot in Stockton, California, and he had such a sign on his desk and was autographed with it in October 1942 for a story in the Reno Evening Gazette. He may have used the sign as early as 1931, but as the photo makes evident, his use of the phrase clearly predates Truman's. Okay, and this is the guy right here that they're talking about. Okay. So yeah, sometimes you have to go back in history and read about some of these former presidents, starting particularly, I would say, when you get to the 1900s, Woodrow Wilson, which is where all the demonic stuff came in. And I think back during 1913, there were some things that were made, documents, and central banking came into effect, and taxes, and what a corporation was, and all that kind of thing. So you start there with Woodrow Wilson, you'll learn a lot about this country. All right. So getting on, let me get back to the fact that they, Jacob and Esau, basically we're still seeing this. Okay. And let's get to a few scriptures here. Okay, because this fight is going to go on until the very end, man. They're not going to stop doing what they're doing, and they're really going to open up the floodgates on this kind of thing, and we have to be more, get more prepared to see more. Okay, let's go up to Genesis. We start right in the very beginning, right? Genesis 27 and 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord, speaking of Jacob, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Right, because Esau was supplanted, okay, by Jacob. Verse 39, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. Right, that's why they have all the land, all the best places to live, all the big mansions, all the waterfront properties, everything, okay? All right, going on to verse 40, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated, verse 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith the father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. So that hatred they have is perpetual, okay, for Jacob. And these words of Esau, and these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah, his mother. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau has touched thee, uh, doeth comfort herself, proposing to kill thee. Salaka doeth comfort himself, proposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise, flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran, and tarry with him a few days until thy brother's fury turn away, until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and fetch thee, for thence why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? So she was trying to hide Jacob. Okay? So that's the beginning of it, if you will. And it's prophesied throughout the scriptures because of this perpetual hatred that they have for Jacob, Esau, the Lord is going to destroy them. Okay? So let's go quickly over to Obadiah. I didn't mean this to be that long. Okay, let's read a little bit of Obadiah. Obadiah 1 and 1, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. Edom is the house of Esau. Okay, we have heard a rumor from the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised, the house of Edom. Okay, Esau. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, though that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Right. These devils are proud. They've always been proud, you know, and even unto this day where they so proud that they feel like nothing, the spirit of the Lord is moving, is what's causing it, okay? Let me just say that. So they're doing things because if the spirit has moved them. The Most High is making these devils do what they do, okay? Because ultimately Jacob's trouble has to ramp up and, really get cracking, so to speak, so that we get to the end, okay? Let's go to verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord power, or the Lord Yahweh. If these came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Right, because even a thief doesn't take everything, but these people are so wicked and greedy, they want everything. Okay. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord power, even destroy the wise men of Edom and understanding out of the mount of Esau? So they're all going to be destroyed. And thy mighty men of Teman shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Okay? And they continuously chasing Jake throughout the earth. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the stranger carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldest thou rejoice over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gates of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Right. Took everything from us. Okay. Neither shouldest thou stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Okay, and that's where they're gonna be wiped out. All right. Let's read a little bit of Malachi. This is where you can find, throughout, and there's many other scriptures I'm sure in there that could be pulled out. Okay, but these are suffice to the point of them continuously shooting down Jake, and that's a perpetual hatred. Okay, Malachi 1:1, the burden of the word of the Lord Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, yet I love Jacob. Right, so he hates Esau. He hates the house of Esau. Okay, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord power of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the borders of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord Yahweh hath indignation forever. I'm just going to stop right there. I don't want to go too long. Okay. So there's destruction coming to that house. Okay. And we'll read just a little bit of Romans 9, and then I'll just close it out right there. Okay. Let me see where I want to come in here. I'll just read the first 9 verses in 9, okay? And this is the Apostle Paul speaking to the Israelites scattered in Rome. I say the truth in Hamashiach, I lie not, my conscience also bear me witness in the Holy Spirit that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart, for I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of the Most High and the promises. Right, that's what comes with the blessing that Isaac put on Jacob. Okay, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's where the promises are, the blessings. Okay, whose are the fathers and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came, who is over all, God bless forever. Amen. Okay. Not as though the word of the Most High had taken none effect, for they are not all Israel, which are of Israel. And we've gone through that. We've explained that, broke that down a million times. Okay. Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children. But in Isaac, see, shall thy seed be called. So Isaac's seed is where the promise goes. Okay. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of the Most High, but the children of the promise accounted for the seed. For this is the word of promise. At this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children not being yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. Right. The Lord had already decided who was going to be the righteous and who was going to be the unrighteous, or the honorable vessel and the dishonorable vessel. Okay, as we would read further on, we would see that. Verse 12, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Okay, so with that, I think I'll just, let me go on. It won't take but a second. Let's go on to 14. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with the Most High? Most High forbid. Right. Just because the Lord made his choice on who's going to be righteous and who's going to be unrighteous, that doesn't mean that the Lord is unrighteous. He gets to pick who he wants. Or in that term, he picked before the foundation of the earth. Okay, let's just say it that way. For he said to Moses, I have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of the Most High which showeth mercy. For the scriptures say unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout the earth. Therefore hath he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he hardeneth. Right. The Lord is in control of all things, be it what we think, or some people, not us, but some people think is good or evil or bad, or the Lord makes all the decisions. Okay. Let me see. Let me go on to verse 19. Thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who hath resisted his will? Nay, but O man, who art thou that repliest against the Most High? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Hath not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor, Jacob, and another unto dishonor, Esau? And I'll stop right there. That gets to the point. Okay. So, Salakia for being so long with it. That's going to do it. I think I'm going to call this the Bucks stop here. Okay. Lord willing, it was edifying to someone who watches it. And, if you're new and you're waking up, get into these scriptures. Okay. Get into them and start studying, praying for wisdom and understanding. Okay. With that, I'm going to close the lesson right there. I'm going to say, all praise to the Most High, Yahweh B'Shem, Yahweh Shai B'Shem, Rakak Wadash. Peace to the hopefully elective Israel. Double honors to the apostles, the elders and brethren, a great millstone, all like-minded brothers who are preaching the truth all around the earth. I'll see you again with another lesson real soon. Shalom.